So where did the very first seed of an idea come from for the film?
Oh, God. That's a good question. The first seed, I think it was when I found out how they met. I felt it was the end of something and the beginning of something else. And I thought it was a hugely romantic gesture of Johnny to go and turn up and knock on the door. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if he opened the door and the next time he's at a door, Morrissey... And I always had that image at the end with Morrissey sort of blurred and distorted and we don't quite know what's coming, but you know when that door opens, Stephen's no more. I suppose that was the first idea. Once I knew the ending, then it was a case of just working backwards and thinking, okay, I think that's more interesting there. And then also just the records, the early records, the first two albums, thinking, Stephen must have written those lyrics. He has to be. And so that became the access point. Let's explore who Stephen is. And I never had any ambitions to make a film about Smiths or use Smiths music. It was always, I wanted to be at that birth of an artist and see what he goes through.
Okay, and how did you find out about that, how they met?
I think it was common knowledge by that point, wasn't it? It's sort of like, I think everyone sort of knew and someone just told me. It was like word of mouth, and then it was one of those things that you just knew about it. And it just stayed with me.
So despite that being what drew you to making the film, the key relationship in the film actually seems to be between Stephen and Linda. Mm-hmm. Why is that so important? Why was that so important to him and what he became?
I think it's all the women in that film. I think what I noticed when we started making the film, that it was becoming more and more about just anybody who has any ambition to do anything in their life, who doesn't feel like they belong somewhere or feels like they're drowning in a world they don't necessarily feel they belong in. Like any drowning man, you grab at things, and clearly it was books and music and films, but it also was strong women. And I think Linda and his mum, and to a lesser degree Angie, all tried to help him in some way. And I think the relationship with Linda is interesting because she is a few years older. She's like 4 to 6. I can't remember if she's 6 years older than him, which is like, when it's a 16-year-old kid. It's 20. It's fast. Women are mature much faster. Men don't mature, but women mature much faster than men. So I think she saw something of herself in him and wanted to help that blossom. And it was very much a meeting of minds and turning him onto things. And I think Jess did a great job of portraying that strength that Linda's got.
You're from the same part of Manchester as...
From half a mile away from
Morrissey.
where he lived, yeah.
So is that where the initial kind of interest came from?
Yeah, I think so. I remember seeing, watching... I caught them quite late. They were still around, but I caught them and they were on top of the pops, and I just thought, what the hell is that? And my dad just walking in going, oh, that Wally lives up the road. I'm like, what? Pop star from Stretford? Are you joking? And that was it. I went to try and find the first thing I could buy, and it was Hatful of Hollow on cassette.
Did you ever see them play live as the Smiths?
My dad was quite strict. Wasn't allowed into Manchester, which was a pretty brutal place even in the 80s. So would never have been allowed to go to a gig on my own to see them. So by the time I was old enough, they'd gone. So thanks, Dad.
Have you seen solo Morrissey live?
It's always been about the Smiths for me. Okay. And that's not to say I don't dislike. I dislike his solo career. There's been absolutely magical moments within it, but it was that band, that period of time, that voice, my period of time. The geography, all those things just came together, and I thought that's me.
And why was Jack so perfect for the role?
Just intelligence, bravery, best actor I've seen. It's come through in years. Genuinely nice guy that you can work with, and just also creative as well. As a director, you want to be able to collaborate with your actors and trust their instincts, and I certainly did that. And he came with great ideas, and I'm open to that. And he listens as well. There's a time when you've got to just say, this is how we're going to do it, and because that's what an actor needs sometimes. And he listens, so he was a joy to work with. But I knew in the screen test, when we screen tested him, I just thought, wow, that Stephen's right in front of me.
How many people did you see? How many Morrisseys?
Hundreds. Because who wouldn't want to do it? But there's very few that are capable, and in fact there was only one. So.
And did everybody know what they were auditioning for to be Morrissey?
Yeah, lots of terrible impressions.
Really?
Yeah.
And what was Jack's audition like?
Mental. His tape was... Because what I liked about it is I just thought, well, at least he's just read on the page and he's interpreted that scene how he wants to play it. Mm. And the fact that I don't think he knew who Morrissey was too well didn't necessitate him... He really didn't come with any baggage for him, so he just played it, and I liked that. So I got him in, and I met him, and then we ran some scenes, and I think he'd done a bit of work since then, and I liked him. And Shaheen was really championing my casting director, and so I said, well, we'll screen test him, because I think what I've seen so far I liked, and the screen test was electric.
And have you at any point in the making of the film reached out to Morrissey?
We've been very respectful. Before the making of the film, before we announced, after we came back from the Oscars, we were lucky enough to be nominated there. So we reached out via different channels, and whether those get through or not, I don't know. He's surrounded by his agents or managers, and I don't know the nature of those relationships. All I know is that on several occasions we've reached out. We just know, because he's not said anything, he's not against us. So I think he'll be fascinated as to why we've done it, even though I've explained all that in letters. And I think he'll be cautious and distanced, and he'll play a game of wait and see, which is smart.
There's quite a few NME references in the film. Did you kind of come down to our archive and look around, or how did you do your research relating to NME?
Defer to my production designer. Okay. But I knew the period. The NME were incredibly helpful. They allowed us to use whatever covers and stuff that we wanted. But we just went for sleeves of the period, really. It was a good trip down memory lane.
Okay, and there are a few kind of lyric references in the script
there's
as
loads.
well. Yeah.
And visual ones hidden.
Mm-hmm. Was it fun doing that? And what's your kind of favourite, or do you not want to give it away?
My favourite is The Queen is Dead. It's the lyric from The Queen is Dead, and if anyone ever spots it, I might have to give them a prize because it's really well hidden.
Okay.
So, but yeah, there's lots of them. I do like it when his boss says, "We don't owe you living, Stephen."
Are there any punctured bicycles on hillsides?
No, there is a bicycle in it. Whether it's got a punctured wheel, I don't know. There is a bicycle there, but it's not on a hillside.